Hi, welcome to Module 5 of Data Migration Framework course. I am Krupesh Desai, your trainer for this course and the author of the book Data Migration Framework. While previous 4 modules being informative, the final module will equip you to kickstart your project discovery work within an hour with the ready to go templates. In this module, we are going to practice what we learned so far to execute an audit ready data migration. Let's first understand the relevance of audit and compliance in data migration project. One fundamental takeaway here is to understand that using my framework is a strategic choice and it is applicable to any data migration project. Whereas the amount of documentation you need to produce depends on the intensity of compliance and audits requirement, which can vary between projects to projects depending on the industry and the sensitivity of the data being migrated. In order to understand what is audit and compliance, we must spare a moment to cover what is data governance in the first place. In one line, data governance is about governing the management of data, while data migration is a data management task. Organizations who are serious about their data management practices due to commercial or regulatory reasons have to not just manage the data migration, they have to govern it as well to ensure auditable adherence of applicable policies and regulations. I have tried to simplify data governance on this slide. I see it as making the right balance between data conformance and data performance. So, your data migration processes must ensure trust in the migrated data in terms of the data performance, while it must also prevent any violations of applicable policies and regulations to ensure the data conformance. So, eventually, the audit is an exercise to assess the performance and conformance of your data migration processes against a set of standards. To pass the audit, you must meet or exceed the standards. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. Data migration needs data governance, of course, but the data governance is also applied across enterprise data management practices. We looked in the foundation module under the component of people and technology that organizations with higher data governance maturity are more likely to achieve better experience when executing data migration from the legacy system. However, for the organization with the lower data governance maturity, retiring a legacy system and migrating its data inevitably reveals all the hidden gaps in data governance, from lack of metadata management, unclear ownership, missing policies, poor data quality, unmanaged or mismanaged master data, to a complete lack of integration architecture. Especially, I also observed that hero culture, where one or two people are sole masiha of the business data, is the great red flag, pointing straight to the south when it comes to data governance maturity. In my book, I advocate for the value added data migration by addressing data governance as a part of the project. I believe at a time when organizations invest tens or even hundreds of millions into new core business systems, this moment can be more than just a technical transition. It is a strategic opportunity to finally get the data governance in order. Making your data migration audit ready is the first step towards addressing the data governance needs of the project and for the enterprise data management of your organization as well. So, being audit ready first needs a mindset change from whether we have a particular document or not to ensuring whether we can prove how and why decisions were made. This mindset for data migration project will build trust and save time during audits. Also note that not all data migration are subject to compliance risk, and the intensity of data governance can vary project to project, subject to one or more listed risk here. To make your data migration audit ready in a compliance sensitive environment, mitigation actions against this four type of risk must be defined and enforced during data migration. I have already emphasized that not all data migration projects are subject to compliance risk, but when they do, it's a combination of one or more scenarios described here. Some projects are by nature regulatory sensitive, such as FDA validation applies to projects in healthcare and life sciences, whereas SOX audits applies to finance and public companies. Personally, I find the second scenario of doing data migration for mergers and acquisitions as the most challenging one when it comes to ensuring the trust in data migration. In the third scenario, a business would just want to move from on premise to cloud based SaaS offering, even with the same application, where the data is leaving the private network of the business and thus some policies or SOPs must be followed. When the legacy system is to be retired for good, immediately or in short time after the cutover, compliance of data retention can't be ignored. One more compliance driven scenario is related to data integration component of the framework, where the target system is supposed to send data for sensitive reporting, such as national statistics or economical calculations. In my experience, I have migrated data from the system that supply data to national data warehouse that powers facts and statistics on public healthcare services. In such scenarios, the disaster is not immediate after the go live, but it surfaces later, suddenly like Undertaker in WWE, and demands a prolonged and costly rectification of the migrated data. From the generic compliance driven scenarios, let's now look at relevant compliances and migration examples in different industries. When a healthcare organization migrate data to retire legacy health record system or undergo mergers and system consolidation or simply move to SaaS based patient management system, compliances matters with sign off on how data migration was done and how necessary controls were placed in the process. Similarly, banking and financial systems are definitely subject to compliance to ensure data integrity is not violated. When you make a mistake in healthcare data migration, it can have severe consequences for the patient health. In banking as well, if you wake up one day and you see zero in all your bank accounts in your banking app after your bank has undertaken some misadventures with system upgrade, someone might get a stroke from that as well. What I'm trying to convey here is poor choices for data migration can have severe consequences, and when things go south in real, audits are inevitable. And how and why things were done the way they were done are part of the litigation process. So, sensitive industries that impacts people lives and finances should aim for audit ready data migration, which includes pharma and life sciences as well, as they produce and research about our medication needs. Whereas government and defense sector is subject to public inquiries. And if you look into utility and energy sector, the negative impact of data migration on the continuity of the service delivery can cause severe and widespread consequences. To summarize, I tried to map the data governance intensity for data migration across various industry verticals for each component of my framework. Where, as you see, if the legend is high for a component, then it requires formal documentation, validation, and sign off. If medium, it requires structured oversight. And if low, it means minimal compliance or documentation needs. I hope you will find this useful if you are working in one of these industries. So, when it comes to executing an audit ready data migration, we are now aware of what is audit and compliance in the first place. So, let's understand project data management and how to leverage the data migration plan as the anchor document for your next data migration project in the next video of this module. Thank you.